Welcome to extraterrestrial reality. Today, I want to talk about some developments, the way people are reacting to some news that came out yesterday. There was a podcast where uh, somebody named J. Christopher King made comments that he's been made aware that there are no plans by the people who were part of this slow disclosure effort to provide any kind of data with regard to alien abductions, and a lot of people online have they don't like that. And at the same time, there are other people who are saying that all this stuff is nonsense, and all these things that people are saying are um, it's not going to go anywhere. That it's just people who want to believe in this, and they're being basically had. And we're going to get into all of that today with this discussion. But I guess I'm going to start first with some comments on um, some people on Spotify, on my Spotify page, as well as on YouTube. I received a lot of different comments about disclosure and whether or not it's going to happen or not. And I guess we're going to start there. I'm going to try to add some. We're going to go right to a share screen here, I guess, with Spotify for podcasters. Yep. Okay, there we go. And these are some of the comments that I received on my recent episode with regard yesterday's episode. UFO disclosure plan excludes alien abduction acknowledgement. And these are some of the comments that I received from different people. From Ela Gren 42 says, I don't believe we will ever get a straight answer. However, I do believe it is going to have to be someone that tells the world without government interference. But after that, that person may be found dead. Conrad Ward said, oh, well, he was asking about where this video I was talking about. Well, I leave links for all the things that I talk about on my shows, whether you're watching it on YouTube or listening to it on Spotify or watching it on Spotify, whatever. In the description, you will find the link for that video. So, Conrad, that's where you will find it. And I'll leave the link again in this for this podcast. And Fred's a regular contributor on Spotify. He's always providing me with different comments, and he said with regard to this, maybe we provide or some sort of product aliens need to survive. I don't trust the government. They would trade humans for technology. That would be a reason for a cover-up, betrayal, sold into slavery. So, and actually, the feelings of Fred, that basically the government would betray everyone in the regular people like us with regard to the aliens and alien abduction. A lot of people feel that way. Uh, and let's see who else commented here. John Rupert says he agrees that the government needs to quit the gaslighting, and he thanks me for raising awareness and giving a voice to our collective frustration. That's what it's all about here. It's about just telling the truth about what I mean. There's something going on here, and we're all tired and sick of it. So yeah, that's what this is about. Yep. Kyle James Miller, he's a regular commenter on Spotify. He says, I think anyone claiming intimate details is a liar. I think we critical thinkers should keep on our guard for the deception ahead. Whatever is going on is deeply complex. It's good versus bad, dark versus light. So Kyle believes that people that are giving details, and I'm assuming that what he means here is like people that are telling other people that, hey, that this is what's going on in the background. We're going to tell the truth about UFOs and aliens being here, but we're not going to tell the truth about alien abduction. Like he's saying that he thinks that those people might be liars. And that could be the case. We just don't know. There's so much anecdotal evidence out there. I mean, just hearsay evidence that we go by. So many of us. I mean, it's absurd. And then Hutch here says, I agree with you 100%. Once you have an experience, all doubt is gone and there's no question left. Aliens are real. Yes. I mean, there's a lot of us out there. I've had experiences with extraterrestrials, and I know for a fact that there are aliens. I saw one. I saw one of the craft. So two different occasions so I'm one of those people out there who knows that something's going on. Okay, we're going to shoot over to, we're going to take a look over at the comments on YouTube now. And let's see here. Let me find it. I got to share the screen here. I'm not used to doing this, folks, so you got to bear with me a little bit. Okay, channel comments. There we go. YouTube Studio. All right. Yeah. I get a lot of comments here. I get comments from Aliendo today. And Aliendo says, with regard to disclosure, he says there will be all kinds of many questions after the disclosure. These should be forced into the open for all to hear and see, and force our government to have to answer, however slowly, the truth. The one sacred thing we should all have access to is the truth. Stephen Bassett had a good positive take on the way things are going. Let's see here. We're going to go scroll through some of these comments. There's a lot of different comments I've been getting recently. There was somebody that commented on this saying that we need to file a lawsuit, and I want to see if I could find that comment here. Let's see. Yeah, here's another one from Dreamscape. I want to read this one. It says, I understand where you are coming from, but in my opinion, no, they cannot talk about abductions yet. People who are non-experiencers, myself included, will absolutely not believe it, thus destroying all credibility in regards to the current disclosure push. Crash retrievals, I think the public is ready for it. Aliens coming into your home at 3 a.m. Nope. Thanks, Jim. So some people just aren't going to be ready for it. They're not going to believe in alien abductions. Well, that's sad because it's something that happens. Now, of course, when I talk about my experience with the alien that showed up in my room back in the late 1970s when I was a kid, I don't know. I don't know if I was ever abducted or not. I have no memory of that. I do have a memory of this being in the room though. So I know that they could do that. They do show up in your room at 3 o'clock in the morning, or anywhere for that matter. And there's just people that get abducted while they're driving down the highway. There's so many stories like that, or in broad daylight, out and about. People who are out and about. So I think it's, yeah. I mean, I don't see why if they're coming here, then why isn't that impossible? If something's a million years more advanced than you, a billion years more advanced than you, then why would it be so hard to accept that their alien abduction is part of the deal that's going on here, along with other things like cattle mutilation? So, and then David Wertsky talks about another Phoenix Light incident that might occur. I'll read his comment here. He says, we can't rule out the possibility that another Phoenix Light event might occur. A craft 1,000 feet wide wafts over a major city. If that were to happen today, with everyone walking around with a high-resolution camera in their pocket, sharing photos of the event on social media, it would be impossible to explain away something like that. It would definitely force the issue. I wouldn't be surprised if a mass sighting like that over a major city were to lead to disclosure. Well, yeah, I mean, if something like that were to happen today in this, in 1997, when, not everybody was carrying around camcorders or, to take pictures like that. So today, if another Phoenix Light incident were to happen over a major city or near a major city, well, there would be probably enough video to probably end the debate and force the government to finally respond. But then again, are they going to tell the full truth? I mean, that's the whole thing. And here's another comment here. This was a comment with regard to lawsuits, and this was like Tanya no T, or like Tanya not. The only way you're going to get the stuff is through lawsuits. The only way experiencers get any restitution from the abuse they've experienced through abductions and bioethics violations on par with the Nazi experiments, some of it through the collusion of private industry, is through lawsuits. You're wrong. The truth is not going to be brought to the forefront without kicking and screaming, and that involves lawsuits. That very well might be the case. I mean, lawsuits might be the only way we're ever going to get to the bottom of this, because, I mean, of course, there are people right now who are saying that disclosure is coming. I mean, we've been talking about this recently in different podcasts, even though all these people are saying that it's going to happen within, like this guy I was just talking about yesterday in that podcast yesterday, this J. Christopher King. He's saying that it's going to happen, he believes, within the next 365 days. That there's going to be some information that comes out of the government that's going to end the debate. Where the government's going to admit that extraterrestrials are here. Finally, they're finally going to admit it. I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, even though Lou Elizondo, people like that, a lot of people are saying these things, and we're still not there yet. And when's it going to happen? I don't know. But I guess the bottom line is, I mean, if it doesn't happen in 365 days, then a lot of people are going to be mad. A lot of the people who are buying into this, the people that believe in this, are going to be very angry. So so that's where I'm at with this. So I'm concerned about things like that. Like, if they don't come through, well, then there's going to be a lot of people in the UFO community. They're going to just throw their hands up in the air and just say it's a bunch of BS, right? So that's where I'm at with this. And I'm not, as everyone knows, I'm not even sure. I don't know if that's really going to happen. Even Ross Coulthart recently seemed like he was almost giddy about there's things that he knows that he's heard about things that are going on behind the scenes where uh, it, something's going to happen pretty soon, right? And you've been hearing this from a lot of different people. There was that was it? I can't remember the guy's name, from the former CIA guy who was making comments like that recently, saying it's coming down the road, that there are whistleblowers are talking to Congress, and things are moving forward. Okay, if that's the case, okay, whistleblowers could be talking. Here's my issue with that: whistleblowers are talking to Congress, but still, if whistleblowers step up and tell Congress, "Hey, we have." I personally have been working on things behind the scenes that are extraterrestrial in nature, that were recovered from crash sites of alien craft, and I worked on these myself. Well, okay, that's great that you're going to get that kind of information, but then the next step is, okay, are we going to actually see the proof? I mean, the world is going to want to see the proof, and then that comes. Well, the secret control group comes into play. Then is a secret control group going to share anything? Well, I don't know about that. But anyhow, we're gonna move over here to something else. I'm gonna take a break from the comments for a second. I want to talk about something that was going on Twitter uh, recently, and this is with regard to John Greenwald, the guy who is behind the Black Vault, for who somebody who for over what I guess it has to be over 20 years has been filing Freedom of Information Act requests, and he he wasn't happy when this news came out yesterday. He's with this guy, this Jay Christopher King, who was in this podcast talking about uh the fact that they're going to withhold the alien abduction stuff, but they're going to tell the truth about aliens being here. And he commented, there was a short video clip of that, of when Christopher King was making that statement, and John Greenwald stated on Twitter, saying, "The bottom line when I hear stuff like this is I realize more and more people are being played, and they don't realize it." Okay, uh, and so some of the I'm going to tell you something about Greenwald. I give him credit for filing Freedom of Information Act requests all the time. I mean, that's great. I mean, he gets some documents for us, and sometimes there's some UFO documents. Most of the time, uh, the really good stuff in the documents is redacted. It's all blacked out, and you can't read it. But he's been a bulldog when it comes to this. But his opinions on the people in the UFO community, and his opinions on the whole phenomenon itself, I just never could agree with this guy. I mean, I don't even know why. If he's somebody that looks down on these people that are hanging on, that want to believe, and if you're looking down on these people, well, then why are you even in this business? Why are you even filing Freedom of Information Act? Why do you even care? Why do you even care? I mean, I'll show you what I mean. Some of the comments that he made here. Uh, and then there was another guy that commented back to him saying, I used to have this Matthew Ryan says, I used to have a lot of fun with the topic as well as hope for disclosure. The last 2 years, especially, I've lost both. And then Greenwald responds again saying, don't let people that are ruining the fun and intrigue do so. Let them play their games and just do you. So basically, Greenwald's calling out these people that are telling other people that things are going to happen soon. He doesn't like that, right? And in a way, if he's right, okay, then maybe that means something. But it's not. It's more what he's doing, right? He has a bad outlook on this. I think. I mean, I'm gonna show you some more here once I could find it. I get some more comments here. There's another tweet that he had. Okay, well, I think it's the wrong one I'm at. He makes some other statements. Okay, let's see. There was another tweet that he put out, which I really took exception to, and we're going to talk about that. Let's see. No, not that one. Yeah, this one. Okay. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Give me a second here. I'm on the same one again. On the wrong one. See, this is the problem. This is why I don't usually live stream. It's always I always have problems, setting things up and finding the things that I want to find. And today's no exception. So here we go again. Let me get to the right one. Okay, here we go. Okay, yeah, here's what he said. He made this statement today. He says, when it comes to today's UFO conversation, it's silly people think they are in some secret club with secret knowledge about the mysteries of the cosmos and go on podcasts to talk about such secrets that they got from their secret sources they can't name because it's all a secret they know, but most of you can't know. It's a LARP to some, and those who have that mindset are getting playing others, or both. So basically, he's saying that a lot of people out there in the UFO community are getting played. Uh, and then he makes another comment here. This was some other guy commented saying, the only good thing, I'm glad all these people put expiration dates on themselves. Hopefully, we move along from them if nothing comes to fruition. Well, yeah, I guess there are expiration dates on. Again, there's quite a few people right now who are making comments that to the effect of that there are things coming up down the road that was going to where disclosure is going to happen. And then Greenwald says he doesn't even when the expiration dates pass, he doesn't believe that that's going to end the hopeful people. He says, nope, empty promises and trust me, bro stories linger for decades in the UFO conversation. And then later on, he makes another statement. He goes, the I want to believe syndrome is very, very real. Now, let's talk about the I want to believe syndrome. Okay. There's a lot of people out there who've been researching this their whole lives, who have an interest in UFOs uh, and they want to know more. They want to know that they want to be told that, yeah, there is something to it. But then there's another group of people, which Greenwald completely doesn't even mention here. There are people out there. I'm not of the I want to believe column. I don't fall into that column. I'll tell you what column I fall into. I fall into the I know column. I know that there's something here because I saw one of these things and I saw one of their crafts, so I know it. And there's a whole bunch of people out there in this world who also know this. And he doesn't take that into it. See, Greenwald has a pessimistic view on this whole subject, even though for all these decades, for at least 2 decades now, he's been filing Freedom of Information Act requests to try in an effort to try to get the truth about UFOs. And he's gotten some documents, but again, what are these, all of his work for over 20 years? In the end, I give him an A for effort, right? But he an F for failing because he's done nothing. What has he brought to this? He's filed all these Freedom of Information Act requests. Well, and what do we get out of it? Net nothing. I mean, we've got some documents that are mostly blacked out when they mention UFOs for the most part. We got nothing from him. I mean, he has proved nothing. So I mean, again, I don't like the tone that he takes with people, and no wonder. Like his YouTube channel for one thing should be really big for all the time that he's been spending on UFOs, but it's not. That's because he gives people, leaves people a bad taste in their mouths. Like, why are you even interested in doing this work if you're going to have this pessimistic view on what's happening here? I mean, again, I'm of the belief too that until I see disclosure, I won't believe it, right? I just don't trust the government, and everyone knows where I stand on this. But hey, if these people are right now, you have all these different people that are saying that things are happening behind the scenes. Okay, let's give them a chance, see what happens, right? You're just going to throwing them under the bus and say they're just throwing out false hope because that's what he's doing. He's saying that these people that are saying this are basically giving all these other people in the UFO community false hope. Well, maybe they do know something that you don't know, John. And again, the only people that are, I'll tell you who's getting played. Everybody, all of us are getting played. John Greenwald, the people that he's talking about here that are making these statements behind the scenes saying that disclosure is happening. All of us we've been getting played since the very beginning for decades now. The U.S. government has been playing all of us. So that's where I'm at with this. I mean, we're getting played. Everybody's getting played, including you, Greenwald, because guess what? All these Freedom of Information Act requests that you made, what do we get out of it? Has it proved that there's an extraterrestrial presence on this planet? No. It's all, so far, it's been nothing. We got nothing out of it. And I'll tell you what probably happening behind the scenes here with this is behind the scenes is what's going on is that just recently there was this year, I guess it was, Jacques Vallée came out with another volume of Forbidden Science. I think it was volume 5, and Richard Dolan was talking about this and how when I'm getting tongue tied here. Richard Dolan was talking about this, like how, like in the early, there's been some evidence to show that in the early 1970s, Richard Nixon was uh, signed, made it so any like tried to make UFO extraterrestrial information impervious to Freedom of Information Act requests, and by moving it into the private sector where it becomes proprietary, and then the private sector acts like a contractor to the government, and they don't got to share anything that they have. So any kind of data with regard to extraterrestrials goes straight to the the control group, which is basically run by weapons manufacturers. So that it's all proprietary then, and so it doesn't matter how many Freedom of Information Act requests you file. Well, it doesn't. We're never going to get anything because the government doesn't have that information. It all goes to these private contractors, and it's out of the reach of anybody within the United States, any citizen that wants to try to get it. And instead, they play these games where they'll give you some documents and black stuff out. And where we, some documents, like last year, there was some Navy documents that were released that a lot of stuff was blacked out, but we know that there was some Navy pilots chasing UFOs, right? Even though a lot of the stuff was redacted. But what does it tell you? It doesn't give you anything more than that. Like, who cares? Again, it's like it's just a treat for us. Like they treat us, like I was saying it recently, that they treat us like dogs, and that was just like throwing a treat out there for us. See, go get it, you dummy, go get it, right? And that's what that is. I mean, that's all these what we have gotten over the years through these Freedom of Information Act requests is basically virtually nothing. It gives us nothing in the end. We're all being played, all of us. Right, all of us are being played, and this is absolutely ridiculous that it's still going on. I mean, again, some people say, well, we need to do it slowly because the world will be too much for everybody all at once. Well, I don't. It's better to get the pain over with, in my view. Doesn't make me right, but I think you'd better just ripping the Band-Aid right off in one full swoop, and get it over with. So that's where I'm at with this. But anyway, there's some other concerning things that I've seen online today, and this is with regard to Whitley Strieber had made some comments on a recent Fade to Black podcast, and we're going to talk about that here in a second once I pull it up. Share screen, yeah. Wait, this is concerning to me, and I've heard something like this before. But he's saying that all records from Roswell have been destroyed. This is a tweet from Mike Colangelo, who's a regular UFO community tweeter on Twitter, and he always has some good things to say about the topic. And he says all records from Roswell have been destroyed. Whitley Strieber was told by a congressman and a general that all records from the Roswell crash have been destroyed or lost over time. Mr. Strieber also points out that as we uncover older UFO cases, we will discover that the same thing has happened to some of those cases as well. The records are gone, and a lot has been lost to history. Now that would be an absolute shame if that were true. I'm not sure if I believe that, but I don't. In fact, I don't believe it. I don't believe that the Roswell records are destroyed. I just can't. I can't imagine that would be something that would happen. That people would be that careless and that selfish and stupid to actually destroy the records of one of the biggest stories of all time, the crash of a flying saucer with alien beings inside of it in Roswell in 1947. I just don't know if I could buy that one. But unfortunately, that's what. See again, like and see in this respect, Greenwald might be right when he makes a statement like people are being played. Yes, yeah, people might be getting played. Whitley Strieber might be getting played, right? That might be true, but you don't. It doesn't make him stupid, right? He's somebody that has connections to other people close to the government, and they're hearing this, and this is the kind of information they're getting. And for all we know, a lot of it could be false, some of it could be true. We just don't know. But again, the bottom line is we're all getting played. We're all getting played. We all been getting played for 76 years now. That's the problem, right? It's not just It's not just like from the perspective of someone like John Greenwald. It's just these, in his mind, these dummies who fall for these uh people who say that, hey, disclosures right down the road here. Well, no, you're getting played too. I mean, look at you. He spent over 20 years filing Freedom of Information Act requests. And what again? I mean, aren't you? Wasn't he getting played too? Because he didn't get it. We didn't get anything. We didn't reach no end game on it, did we? So again, a lot of people are getting played. Everyone, all of us, uh, everybody in the that in this country that has, even if they're not interested in UFOs, everybody's been getting played as far as I'm concerned, because they've been withholding the truth about this matter for all this time. It's absolutely absurd. Uh, Now here's another story, and this is on a website called Hows and Whys, and this is a guy named Vicky. What's his name again? I forget. It's Vicky Verma. Yeah, Vicky Verma. This guy writes a lot of articles on UFOs, and I'm gonna. He was talking recently. Now James Fox made a statement recently, and I'm gonna go through the statement that he made. The statement that he made on a recent podcast, where he's talking about that he met with somebody. Somebody told him, a former military Air Force personnel that was involved in some Area 51 activities, made a statement to him recently about what's going on behind the scenes. And this guy's actually one of the whistleblowers. This guy apparently knows the truth that extraterrestrials are here, and that he's worked with materials, right? So, and this was the statement that Mr. James Fox, of course, the filmmaker and movie maker, made on this podcast recently. And he read this. This is what the guy said to him. It says, "Hello, James. Just wanted to give you a quick shot of the involvement I've had with UAPs. I was introduced to a program while I was in the Air Force that involved Area 51 activities, and did that for 2 to 3 years. My job involved going to a lot of different locations and hearing discussions from a lot of people that are working on very extraordinary technologies and materials. Jumping forward to October of last year, I had already been interviewed by the UAP task force to testify in 2022 with the Senate and the House, who were passing the new NDAA legislation at the time. Just stop there. The National Defense Authorization Act legislation, which included the whistleblower language. Anyway, continuing here, it says, I provided them with the context of my job and what I had experienced in an effort to give Congress more clarity on the program, which has been particularly difficult to get insight into. After my testimony, I was again asked to speak to the new Arrow organization. So earlier this year, I interviewed at the Arrow office to help them in their study of UAP. It's been an extraordinary road for me, to say the least, and I'm doing what I can to help get this out. I will be straightforward with the technologies we have discovered. We'll probably have to stay under classified programs due to national security, but I believe it's time for us all to know that we are not alone. So this guy's saying we are not alone. So he's seen things that made him realize we are not alone. Anyway, continuing here, says, this has been my whole purpose for becoming involved. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, and it's way too much for a lot of folks to take in right now. I'll do my best to guide any discussions between the powers that are behind all this, and hopefully my friends who are still in the program will hear this and consider separating the technologies from the contact. I wish you all well, and I hope I'll have an opportunity to open up the discussion of what this is all about very soon." So, as you can see, people like James Fox has contacts. He has contacts, and in this in the government world, and people are talking to him. I mean, why not? I mean, this guy has been making UFO documentaries for decades now, and he's made some of the best documentaries on UFOs that are out there. So he has contacts, and somebody's talking to him. And I don't think James Fox would be making a statement like this if he didn't think it was legitimate. But again, I guess to some people out there like John Greenwald, this is just this. We're being played with that. No. I don't think so. I think that there are some of these things are true. I think that this James Fox contact is probably legitimate, or he wouldn't be sharing this information. So maybe there are things that are coming down the pike that might surprise a lot of us. Now, I know some of us out there are sick of this, and we don't think anything's going to happen. As you know, I'm very pessimistic about that. I don't know if it will. I until I see it. Seeing is believing for me when it comes to disclosure, because I just feel like the government's never going to tell the truth on this. But hey, I'm hoping I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But I don't have any problem with this. I don't see. I mean, let's see what happens over the course of the next 365 days. Like this J. Christopher King says, maybe something will happen. Maybe something will happen in Congress during one of these hearings, or that will end this, or mark the beginning of the end. But again, I don't think just testimony is going to do it. I think you're going to have to somehow, Congress is going to have to be brought to some place where they actually see, recovered craft, dead alien bodies. I think that's going to be something that's going to need to happen at some point. I'm just going to see if I could check in. There's been some comments here from different people. Futuristically minded on this is on Twitter. Well, okay, let's see where we are here. It says somebody's asking me when are you bringing the next guest? Well, I'm working on it. I'm always trying to get other guests on here. I think the most recent guest I had was Jack Connor, really good guest. And if you haven't seen his channel, he has a good YouTube channel, Cosmic Road. Definitely check it out. Actually, I hope to bring one of these days. I'll bring Shannon Scott back on. He was ill, and now, by the way, I mentioned him recently. He's back home again. He's doing a lot better. So hopefully I could get him on again, and Rob Heatherly perhaps one of these days to talk about UFOs. And I'm always trying to get other people to come on. So I am working on it. You have to remember too, like, let's be realistic here. Let's just stop here for a second. And let's be realistic here. My channel is not that big right now. Let's see. I have about 1,200 plus subscribers on YouTube. On Spotify, I have about 3,000 followers. Every day it keeps getting bigger for the most part. I keep growing and growing, but I mean, right now I'm only small potatoes. I mean, I don't think when I send out a message to somebody to come on here, if they come on, I'm very happy about it, because right now I don't have a lot of followers. As it grows, I think I will get more people to come on my show. I hope so. I would love to talk to other people. And it's and I'll continue. I'll get other people to come on here hopefully, and we'll see what happens. I had Preston Dennett on a month or so ago, and he was a great guest to have. I mean, Preston Dennett he's one of my favorite YouTube channels on UFOs. I mean, he's great. And actually, I've recently going to be getting some of his books, and he has 50 books. He probably has more books on UFOs than anybody else. KJ says, have you seen the 2008 video of a McMinnville type UFO hovering very close to a military jet? One of the most compelling videos I've ever seen. Some thinks it's real, just unreleased by the Pentagon. I didn't see that. I'll have to check it out. Yes, and Gordon Shumway asked for a link. Okay, yeah, I'll have to check that out when I get a chance. Yeah, I will check it out. I haven't heard about that one. Let's see who else here. Futuristically minded says, yeah, the I want to believe mentality is typically something that a lot of skeptics adopt, even though they don't do any work in actually changing themselves from the skeptic point of view. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Here's the problem with the skeptics, the skeptics is one thing. I mean, there's a difference to me between skeptics and debunkers. Skeptics are people who are just naturally skeptical. They need to see it to believe it. I mean, in a way, I'm a skeptic about disclosure because I need to see it to believe it. I mean, until the government actually comes clean, I need to see it to believe it. I don't care how many people come forward. I mean, I'm a big fan of Lou Elizondo and Ross Coulthard and James Fox, but until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. I just don't trust the government on this. So I'm a skeptic when it comes to that. There's a difference between skeptics and debunkers. Skeptics are usually people who they need to see more with regard to extraterrestrials. They're interested in it, some of them, but they're just not there yet. They didn't have their own experiences. People who have experiences, of course, well, I mean, that once you have an experience, then you know for sure, and nothing is ever the same again. So it's unfortunate actually for the skeptics. Now debunkers, they're just, I don't know. I mean, it's a deliberate effort, regardless of what they really believe personally. I'm not even sure. I'm not sure if some of these people might be actually working for the government in some cases, right? And in the past, I'm certain of it that some people might have been some of the main debunkers of the past, and maybe even today. I don't know. I always found it strange that Carl Sagan he never even researched it. I mean, they wouldn't even read a book on this. They wouldn't even look at the data or anything. They would just make armchair proclamations, and it's just not true. We don't have any evidence. Like I can't understand how smart people could be I mean, be a debunker on this. Would want to choose to actively be a debunker. Like Mick West seems like he's a smart guy. Unfortunately, he's taken this path where it's almost like a pseudoscience. They call UFOs pseudoscience. I think actually the stances of the debunkers like him, it's like a pseudoscience. Okay, let's see what other comments here. Uh, KJ says skeptics will backpedal faster than a tricycle on speed when the truth comes out. Yeah, I don't know. Actually, when the truth comes out, I don't know you're gonna see some of the debunkers, I don't know, probably just disappear off the internet completely and go into hiding. I would imagine that's what's going to happen with some of those people, because they're going to look like such idiots. I mean, because again, I have no problem like calling these people out, because I saw one of these beings, so I know for a fact that there's something here. I saw one of the craft. I know for a fact. These people obviously either they're lying to themselves, or they're pretending, or whatever. At some point, something's going to happen, and they're going to look like complete absolute idiots, and it's coming. You know, it's coming. At some point, it's going to happen. Okay, Johnny Topside says he loves this channel. Well, thank you, Johnny. I'm glad you like it. Uh, yeah, hopefully, I try to keep. I'm trying to, I've been trying to keep it. I'm been doing stuff every day recently. Trying to do stuff every day. It's not easy to do this every day. Actually, I always say this. When it comes to UFOs, you got to give it a break. Some days, I mean, sometimes okay, I can't think about this today. It's too much. It is too much, even for people who are very interested in this subject. Sometimes you just, you gotta, hang it up for a day or two. You gotta step away from it, because it could, it's a lot to consider. But recently, I've been trying to do one every day. I'm trying to keep going as long as I possibly could, just to see what happens, to keep the ball rolling. Because I'm, the bottom line is this: is I'm sick of this situation that we're in. I'm just sick of it. A lot of us, I think the people that are listening to my podcast and watch my YouTube channel, we're all sick of this. We're just sick of it. And we just want this to end already, because we know better. Okay. KJ, thank you very much. He says a great appreciation, and I appreciate that. JD says Lou would definitely go on your channel, because he doesn't care the size. He cares about the quality of the host. Also, Sean Cahill, I'm sure he would go on your channel. Well, yeah, I would love to have Lou Elizondo on here. Wouldn't that be something else? I mean, but as far as I know right now, Lou isn't doing any kind of interviews on any podcast right now. And you're right. He does go on smaller podcasts that didn't matter to him. I know there's a lot. I don't like the way people attack him on Twitter. That drives me crazy. They make it sound like this guy is just like out for money. I saw some tweets just yesterday and today about this. People making lousy comments toward him, that he's just out for money and stuff like that. No, I don't think he's out for money at all. I think he's somebody that genuinely wants the truth to be told. That's all he's up. That's what he's up to. That's who he is. He just wants the truth to be told. Right. But yet he gets attacked. He gets, anybody that's outspoken on this is just how it's going to be. Right. I mean, the reason Lou Elizondo gets attacked on like this online is because there's people that hate this. They don't like this. They don't want this to be true. Right. So that's what that's all about. And then JD also said Mick West is a hybrid. Maybe he's a hybrid plant. Maybe that's what's going on. I'm just joking, of course, but hey, you never know, right? I mean, who knows? I mean, let's talk about that. I was just talking about that the other day. If David Jacobs is correct, right? If David Jacobs is correct, then that means there are beings among us that are extraterrestrial, and we wouldn't even be able to spot them. We wouldn't be able to spot them. And that's scary. But I mean, that means it's probably done end game. You know, that if that's the case, right, then that means the government really slipped up on this. Put it this way: let's say that that's the case. Say David M. Jacobs is correct in that this abduction phenomena, which started cropping up, that people start noticing it like in the 60s. It happened probably before that, but really start picking up like it seems like in the late 50s, early 60s, and then by the 70s and 80s, it seemed like it was, you know, there was a lot of people coming forward saying that this is what's happening. Hey, I saw one of these beings in the 70s, right? One of these little things was in my bedroom and it was real, right? So I know that these things have been going on. So, you know, what if by the government keeping this a secret for all this time, right? That they basically dropped the ball and now it's too late to do anything about it. And these extraterrestrials have basically taken control. They're going to be just easily take control of the planet now. When if they would have told the truth to the people back then, maybe there's some measures all of us could have taken to try to prevent this. I mean, I know I did a podcast a while ago. There was this guy, and he wasn't asking for any money. He has I can't remember the name of the site, his website, but it was a some sort of material called Velostat, and that if you could make a helmet, a Velostat helmet, and you put it on your head, and it prevents aliens from controlling you. And I don't know. Some people apparently claim that this works. Some people who are getting abducted on a regular basis claim that this worked. This guy set up this website. He was a former NASA employee that says it's real. And he says, if you want to keep aliens away from you, you have to wear one of these helmets at all times. I mean, it sounds crazy, right? But maybe that's something. Maybe if we would have been doing that for all these decades, maybe there wouldn't have been no abductions happening. I mean, just saying, you know, who knows? And maybe they wouldn't be integrated into our society right now, as if David Jacobs is correct. You know, we don't know. We don't know. Again, all of this stuff that we're talking about. The only thing I could tell you is this: we don't know what's true of this or not. Like, there's some things we're not sure of, right? But the one thing that is true, that there are alien abductions, right? There's no question about that. The purpose behind it, we're not really sure, right? But there are alien abductions, and there are aliens here. Again, I saw one, so I know this for a fact. And all these other people aren't lying. All these tens of thousands of people over the decades, they're not all liars. I'm sure some hoaxes are in there, right? But most of them, they're not lying. Let's see here. I'll get back to the comments here. Futuristically Minded says, yeah, I'm talking about the debunkers that call themselves skeptics, and they're really debunkers and not skeptics. There's a lot of force of pseudo skeptics out there aren't really skeptics, in my opinion. And then KJ says, Lou speaking in the gym is a dream I hope comes true. I think it will. I mean, give me some time with this channel. It keeps growing all the time. I've been doing it for, I guess, a little over 2 years now, somewhere, something around there. And slowly but surely, it keeps growing, getting a following, and hopefully, I will have a conversation with Lou, among a lot of other people. I'd like to have other people on here and have just heart-to-heart discussions about this situation. I think that's, you know, you have truthful heart-to-heart discussions about this whole phenomenon with people. We get closer to the truth by doing that too, by just being human beings and just talking about it the way things are. Forget about all this nonsense, all the outside noise. Here's the bottom line: is this? Like I lost track, I guess, a little bit. I know that there's something here. A lot of us do. We just don't know all of the whole story, what's going on here. People in our government hopefully have a better grasp on what's going on. That's why it's important that we finally get what they know, despite what it is, despite if it's bad, some of it's bad, right? There are some just continuing on their merry way just to check us out, and then they're gone, because it seems like there's all different kinds of beings. But then if you look at the grays and the reptilians and the praying mantises, and you hear some of them stories, they don't sound too fun. So there's obviously some things are here up to no good, or I don't think it's a good thing to take people away, basically abduct people. I mean, how could that be a good thing? It can't be. That's a bad thing. So they're up to no good. Let's see here. Tony Kingsley says, Jim, it's not a small podcast. Look at it as a boutique podcast. Yeah, it probably is a boutique podcast. Yeah. It's almost like a boutique Blu. I love classic Blu-rays, classic movies, and I collect them on Blu-ray sometimes. And there's boutique labels out there that's all they do is release older classic movies that a lot of people never heard of before. And maybe in the world of UFOs, I'm just a boutique UFO channel and podcast. KJ says could be fake for sure, but feels real to me. I haven't seen it debunked or proven. It emerged around the same time as the Nimitz videos that were later proven real. Apparently, he's talking about a different that video that was mentioned earlier of a UFO, which I have not seen yet. And then Jesse Viveris says, I listened to the book Among Us on Audible. It was very fascinating, and I highly recommend it. I actually listened to that on Audible myself, Walking Among Us by David Jacobs. I listened to that on Audible too. That was something else. But I tell you what, I'd rather read a book. I'd rather have the book in hand myself. So I'm not going to do that anymore. No more Audible books for me. I'd rather have the book in hand because I'll tell you what, it's a lot harder when you want to reread something. It's a different story trying to find it on Audible, trying to find the part you want to listen to. Again, it's much better to be able to look at it with your eyeballs. Bill Nye and some Gordon Shumway says Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson on your channel. I wouldn't want those guys on my channel. Those guys, see, again, I don't want an argument with people. I don't want to argue with. To me, these debunkers don't mean anything. I mean, they don't have anything they don't bring anything to the table. I mean, they sit at their armchairs and make proclamations. That's all they do. They don't ever read a book on this. They don't do any sort of investigations on this. So they don't know what they're doing. I mean, they don't even know what they're talking about. I don't care how smart Neil deGrasse Tyson is. When it comes to UFOs, he's a dummy. He's a dum-dum. You know, I'm smarter than Neil deGrasse Tyson when it comes to extraterrestrials. Because for one thing, I know that they're here. He doesn't accept that. I know I could accept it because I saw one of these beings. I know that it's real, right? I saw one of the craft. I know it's real. But then again, I've done enough research too. There's enough books out there. I didn't figure out that it's real, right? If you did the research, there's just no question about it. It's unquestionable. It's again, we're playing this stupid, idiotic game, and it's just so tiring. KJ says, whatever the case, we know the United States military has remarkable videos, way more compelling than what has gone public. I imagine them to be something like that. Oh yeah, I would bet. Well, I remember Lou Elizondo made a statement that there's evidence out there that showed you could see the little gray beings with the big heads inside these craft. So there's no question that they have stuff like this. But I think that all of that stuff, any kind of evidence that shows that kind of stuff, I think that gets shipped to the secret control group. I don't think that stays in the vaults of anybody in the Navy or the Air Force. I think that goes right to the secret control group. Anything that could prove the reality of the extraterrestrial presence here is taken away from the military. The military, I believe, acts actually the muscle that protects the secret control group that's working on this stuff in secret. That's what I think is going on. So they're like a bodyguard. And let's see. KJ also said, did you see Close Encounters of the Third Kind as a kid? I think it came out of the same year as your extraterrestrial experience, but afterward, I wonder if it connected dots about what you saw. No, it did not. No, I did see Close Encounters of the Third Kind when I was a kid. I didn't see it until 1978, though. That movie was released late in December of 1977. But it didn't come around to any to the main movie theater that was near my home until close to the summer. So around the summertime, I believe, of 1978. My experience happened with that being with the three fingers happened in 1977. And I never made the connection. No, I never made the connection. I never thought that for a minute. It took me years to make that, at least 10 years till I made the connection. And I never, ever thought that. I thought all that stuff was phony. I just thought it was all Hollywood made up stuff. I just thought Close Encounters of the Third Kind was an extension of the science fiction movies that featured flying saucers and aliens from the 50s. And I never knew, because you have to remember back then in the 70s, there was no internet. You know, there was nothing. I mean, if somebody didn't tell you something, or if you didn't catch something on TV at the right minute because nobody had VCRs or anything like that back then you had no idea. I mean, I don't remember ever really talking about this with any kids in school or anything. To me, aliens was just a product of Hollywood and science fiction books. That's as far as I thought. I didn't realize until like probably around 1980. I remember I was there was an In Search of episode that was on TV, and it was about crash retrievals. It featured Jesse Marcel Sr., and they're talking about recovering an extra the crash in Roswell. And I remember my dad was watching, and I was just walking through the room, and I remember stopping him. I'm watching for a few seconds. I remember saying to him, I was like, "That's real?" He said, "Yeah, you didn't know that?" It's like, no, I didn't know that this stuff. I thought this was all phony, right? And so that was the first time I started realizing that there might be something to this. But then it wasn't until years later, till like the late '80s somewhere, where I was watching a documentary about alien abductions, and then I realized that I didn't realize it right away. I remember thinking about it as a kid, and then it took me a little while, and I finally put two and two together. I was like, that's what that thing was in the room. It wasn't the devil. It wasn't some demon from hell. It was a alien. And that explains it. I mean, that explained the sound that I heard, that weird humming sound that was the whole 20-minute experience, right? It explained the getting conked out the way I got conked out. I mean, I'm completely terrified for 20 minutes, screaming for help, trying to get my mom and dad to come to save me from whatever this thing was in the room, and they never came. My brother's right across the room from me. He didn't wake up, and then somehow I goes conked out somehow, just passed out. And then all these years go by, and during this whole thing, there was a humming sound. Just yesterday. Now I'm going to back. Christopher King there was a lot more to it than him just talking about the fact that they're not going to, the government, when they do disclose, that they're not going to talk about the alien abduction stuff, right? There was a lot more to it than that. He was talking about some of his experiences. He was talking about when he was a youngster back in the '80s, where he was like in a room in his house, and he was relaxing on a chair, and next thing you know, he saw these two gray short beings in the room, and one of them had some sort of like a wand or a stick of some sort, and when they pointed it at him, then he passed out, and he doesn't remember anything after that. So these beings have the ability just to conk you out at any minute, that they want. I mean, I don't know what was going on with me back in 1977, but they did something to me to make me get conked out like that, and they did something to the rest of the people in the family. I mean, they conked everybody out. I mean, they're all none of them were responsive to. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs at 2. I don't know what time it was. It could have been 2, 3 in the morning, 1:30 in the morning. I have no idea. It was late, and so I mean, well, I don't know what they did to make me conk out like that. But see, again, to me, that was extraterrestrial. There's no doubt. Now I know. And then, of course, in 1994, that other experience where I saw the flying saucer. Now in that case, there was another witness there. Right? So it wasn't just me. It was my friend Scott. He was there. We're fishing, and then in the middle of the night, all of a sudden, this big giant object with 3 giant lights on it comes floating right up to where we're fishing. We're fishing on the shore of this little pond in the middle of nowhere. And that thing made no sound, and it was only 2.5 stories off the ground, and it was right in front, within 20 feet of me. And my friend Scott at one point was like under the edge of it, shining the flashlight on the bottom of this thing, and there was no sound, and it was moving in any way it wanted to. So there's no question about it. There's extraterrestrials here, folks. I know there's all these people that say that they've had experiences. I believe them because I saw these things too. I know. And we're just all tired of it. And again, I guess the whole point of this podcast tonight was to point out the fact that we're all being played. Like John Greenwald wants to point out that, these people who believe these other people that are saying things that they hear about from people who are in the government or close to the government, that the disclosures coming, that those people are being played. He doesn't know that. The fact of the matter is that we're all being played. We're all being played, and we're all should be sick of it. I don't know. Talking about lawsuits, right? Where do you start? I mean, who would you file a lawsuit against, right? I mean, as U.S. citizens? I mean, you could think about that route about filing a lawsuit, but who would you file a lawsuit against? Would it be the entire United States government? It would actually be, so you'd actually be going against, in a way, if there's a group of people that got together and filed some sort of lawsuit demanding that the truth be told, or I don't know, maybe try to get somebody arrested, maybe, perhaps. I don't know how you would go about it. I mean, where would you start? I mean, would you be filing lawsuits against the entire government as a whole? I mean, from every department and every military branch, the Air Force, the Army, the Department of Energy, the National Security Agency. Who? I mean, but none of those agencies might not even have any of the information. It might be in a secret control group that you don't even know exists, that you don't have a name for. How are you going to file a lawsuit against that? I don't know. It's just such a mess, and that it's such a shame that it's going on this as long as it has, and it just seems like we're never going to get to the end at this point. So, I mean, it seems like we've made progress. There's no question about it. In 2017, things seem to change, but still, and we've been getting some promises lately, and they're saying things are coming down the pike. I really hope that's the case. I really hope being stated. Um, uh, Jesse, we were talking about. I was talking about Audible. Yeah. Okay. He hates the reading of it. That's why he uses Audible, especially at work. Yeah, that's great for that. Like if you're out and about and you just want to listen to a book, yeah, that's good for that. But I guess what I should have said is that I should if I'm gonna get a book anymore, I should have both versions, an Audible version and a hand version, the old fashioned kind of book version. Um, but yeah, so yeah, I should have that. Um, Let's see. It says Game Day Reboot. Have you ever heard about alien entity looking like humanoid but without any details? Their whole face and body is glowing white, similar to white noise static on TV. I'm not sure about that. Uh, uh, and then Paul Knox says, I take him serious for what he speaks. Hold on a second. Can't read the comment. I take him serious for what he speaks about, and seriously funny at times when he gets to serious. Yeah. Uh, let's see. I think I missed a couple here. I missed a lot actually. Uh, Futuristically, minus says he watched Close Encounters as a kid, and it scared me. The ET abduction parts frightened me. Well, yeah. I mean, there was actually, yeah, it was weird. That Close Encounters of the Third Kind did feature alien abduction. Uh, and again, it never rang a bell with me. I never made the connection. Again, I just thought it was uh, pure Hollywood stuff. That's well, I'll tell you what, that was a treat. I remember that actually was. I remember going to see that movie. My dad took me and my brother Davey to see that. That was fantastic. That was awesome. But yeah, we don't know what's going to happen here. And actually, okay, Gordon Shumway's asking, says here, your field trip to the water pit in Pennsylvania was cool. Any more in the future? Yes. Yes, I'm actually making a field trip tomorrow, and it's going to be about a case regarding a chameleon alien that happened in a local nearby small town where I'm at right now. And I'm going to be going there, and I'm going to be telling the story of a chameleon alien that some people saw, or one, actually two people encountered at least I guess it was probably about 10 years ago or a little bit more than that, in this little town. And I'm going to go there and I'm going to film it in that little town. Apparently, just for a little teaser on that, there are some things among us apparently that are able to shapeshift and change the way they look. So I'm going to get into that tomorrow, and I'm going to be putting the podcast, on location podcast again on that. So that's what I'll be working on tomorrow. Okay, I'm just going to look at a couple more comments here to see what else we got. Christian Morale says the secrecy is so strong. Slide 9 of ATIP talks about an enemy of the U.S. that can control space, time, and matter, penetrate our facilities, influence decision makers, and compromise national security. These are the aliens or non-human intelligences feeding the cover-up, because at the end of the day, not everyone has the balls that Lewin Mellon has and other brave men. Someone will get scared. Well, yeah, well, that's also, I guess, what you're talking about there. There is, I would imagine, if these beings are among us, right? This is another thing that I mean, I don't even know if we went to. I don't even like to touch this, at all. I don't even like. It's hard to talk, even though I do talk about it. But it's, I mean, if we're going to accept the reality that there are beings among us now that look like us, that because of this second phase of the alien abduction program now has led to these hybrids, like David Jacobs talks about, and they're among us, then does that mean it's possible that some of these things might be controlling this whole situation within the government? I brought this up before, and I hate to even talk about it because I hate to even think about that. That's a possibility, knowing if what these be who these beings are, if they are extraterrestrial. But again, how, I mean, if they can control us like the way the aliens can control us, if these Ubers can control us the same way, they could, using mind control technology, or just use with their own minds, somehow they're able to control us. If they can do that, then that means they can control anybody within the government, right? So that's another scary thing to think about here. That's why uh it's tough. You could understand in a way why the cover up is continues, because there's going to be so many questions. I mean, like, okay, like I pointed out in that podcast yesterday that if that's true, if what J. Christopher King says is true, that they're going to withhold the alien abduction aspect of this phenomenon once disclosure happens, is that going to really matter? Because that's going to be the people that have been abducted, for one thing, are going to be like, hey, why aren't you talking about this? This has been something that's been happening to me all, my whole life, or it used to happen to me, at least. I mean, uh, so there's going to be a lot of people stepping forward like that, and then other people are going to be wondering, hey, if they're really here, does that mean that they're among us now? That there's beings among us that look human and are really aliens, and there's some change that's coming. There's going to be all these kind of questions. It makes disclosure hard. That's why it's such a mess now. It would have been so much better, when you really think about it, if they would have just told the truth from the beginning. Because now look at the mess. Look at the mess. Rather, if everyone knew what the truth was from the beginning, then they could have accepted one of these new revelations as they came. But now, it's gonna, no matter if they try to lie, if disclosure happens, right, and the government tries to hold back some of the information, when you really think about it, is that going to matter? It's not going to matter, because people are going to start jumping to conclusions. The press will finally, the mainstream media might finally open up its eyes, right? And they might finally start doing some serious investigation, right? I mean, it's not, you're not going to be able to hold it back. Once you admit it, it's going to be like a boulder rolling down a snowbank, collecting snow till it's one of them giant boulders, and like in a cartoon. That's what's going to happen. It's going to have the snowball effect. And it's just going to get bigger and bigger, and everyone's going to be, whoa, because you're, no matter how, whether it's a slow disclosure or not, once you cross that bridge a little bit and you say, yeah, it's extraterrestrial, it doesn't matter what part you were planning on keeping from the public, because the public's going to be demanding the rest of the answers, or panicking about it, or whatever. So that's why it would have been so much better to tell the truth right from the outset. Unfortunately, 76 years has gone by now, and there's all these other details that have emerged over the decades with regard to this phenomenon that continually complicate it, and more and more and more. And now it's, wow. When disclosure, if it happens, regardless of which way it happens, right, in the end, it's not going to really matter, because everyone's going to be, whoa. The people that don't believe in it, look, people like us will be sitting back like, yep. Anyway, let's see. I'm going to go through some more comments here, and then we're going to call it an evening. Let's see. Jesse Viveros says, James, you watched the Unsolved Mysteries episode of the Kecksburg UFO crash in 1965, aired in 1988. The episode includes interviews with actual eyewitnesses to the Acorn metallic craft. Yes, I did see that episode, and I have studied that case. I've read about that case. In fact, that's right here in Pennsylvania, and I have plans. There's a festival that's happening in July, and I will be heading to that festival. And I'm certain I'll be doing a show from one of my podcasts. I'll do a podcast. I'll probably interview people that are there just to get comments from them, and put them on my podcast. That should be fun. Christian Morales says, problem is that the topic is taboo, and the closer you get to the truth, the crazier you sound if you speak it. Isn't that so true? Yeah. I mean, the deeper you go down to this, the deeper you look into this, the crazier and crazier it sounds. I remember I used to have a problem, and I think I've talked about, I'm sure I talked about this before, when I first heard that when these alien abductees said that these beings have the ability to walk right through walls. Like, when I heard that, I couldn't accept it. But over time, and you read all the cases where people say this happens, it's like, it must be happening. You start accepting it. That's what I'm saying. For people out there who just have never really looked into this, they're going to be shocked. I mean, they're going to be shocked. It's too much. They're not going to want to know. It's going to be tough for them to digest it all in one shot. Even though I do think that I still believe that ripping the band-aid off is the best way to do it. That doesn't make me right. It's just my opinion. Uh, and Lord Humongous says, my sister recently told me of a memory she has of something that looks like the classic gray alien being face to face with her, almost nose to nose, when she was a kid. She was sick at the time, so she thinks the memory might have been caused by a high fever, but I find it interesting. Yeah, that is interesting. That could have been. I mean, you never know. I mean, it does happen. It's real. There was a being in my room when I was a kid. Again, like I just talked about, and it was there. It was real. Uh, and KJ asks, "Are you in Western Pennsylvania? If so, you might enjoy getting to know Stan Gordon." Yes, of course. I don't know Stan Gordon personally, but I have read some of his articles and I've seen him in interviews. And I'm actually in Eastern Pennsylvania though. But maybe I'll run into him at that Kecksburg festival. Hopefully. Um, Yeah, KJ Stan might do an interview. Actually, he happily agreed to a phone interview with me once. Yeah, I'd like to do an interview with Stan at some point. He has a lot of stuff other than just Kecksburg too. I mean, there's a lot of strange. A lot of people don't like to hear this too. I know early on when I started my podcast, there was somebody that I did a podcast on Bigfoot and UFOs, and one of my early followers got really upset with me and decided not to follow me anymore because he thought it was totally ridiculous. But unfortunately, the reality is that there were cases, and right here in Pennsylvania, in fact, particularly during the early 1970s, several cases that involved sightings of a UFO and Bigfoot creatures at the same time. So, is there a connection somehow? I don't know. I mean, there's just so many things out there we just don't know the answers to. It's so weird. Like, you would think if Bigfoot is just some sort of a primitive version of man, then you think we would have captured one or found a dead one or something already. But if they're connected to UFOs for some reason, that makes it more complex, I guess. I mean, maybe they're getting protection from the extraterrestrials. Maybe this. Here, I'll leave on this note. Maybe the entire human race, maybe what we really were in the beginning was we evolved from these Bigfoot creatures. That's us in our most primal form, right? These Bigfoot creatures, right? And the aliens, 100,000 years ago or whatever, how many years ago we don't know. The aliens started manipulating some of these Bigfoot creatures with alien DNA, and this is the product that we are now, right? Is half Bigfoot and half alien. That's what's going on, and it's been a hybridization program from the very beginning. Maybe that's what's going on. Who knows? Anyway, I want to thank everyone for joining me tonight, and I really appreciate all the questions and participation. It was fantastic, and for people out there on Spotify who will hear this later on when I upload it, please don't forget to follow me and also to give me a good rating on there. It helps. And also on people on YouTube that are seeing this, to please give me a thumbs up. And if you're not following me, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to it. And I really appreciate that. And anyway, until next time, thank you very much for joining me.